Welcome to the D-VELO-P Cycling Training Podcast, where we untangle the complexities of peak performance in cycling. My name is Fredrik Eriksson, and together with my partner in crime, Erik Åkesson, we are the dorky coaching duo who will be your hosts. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast. My name is Fredrik.
And I'm Erik, and today's episode we're going to talk about another test, the so-called inertial load test, or as we like to call it, the power cadence test.
And this episode is basically going to be some kind of physics lesson, but physics in the world of cycling.
The kind of physics we like.
Absolutely. So buckle up for maybe. Do you think we will get the Nobel Prize in physics for this?
Probably not, but I could use the money.
Okay, yeah, I'm rich enough.
I can take the whole sum. No, but this power cadence test is actually kind of a follow-up to the previous episode we did on critical power. In which we said or talked about the three sprints that you do before the 14 to 18 minute interval test, and the three sprints you do, the maximal peak power and velocity you can use to do these tests.
Yeah, the test is, like you said, it's basically a short sprint. So it should never exceed maybe 8 to 10 seconds, preferably in the range of 5 to 7 seconds long, or at least like 10 pedal strokes, starting from a really low cadence or even a standing start, and then acceleration on the same gear the whole time, so you don't shift during the test. So you're sprinting all out from basically zero cadence up to somewhere around maybe 120 to 140 RPM, something like that. Maybe a little bit higher for some athletes. And then you get a value where, okay, for every pedal stroke, you have a force and a velocity of the pedal or cadence, and that force and velocity together is power. And then you will see what every force and velocity relationship during this sprint. It's going to be a higher and higher velocity, but usually a lower force. But somewhere along that line, the power peaks, and then it starts to diminish again, getting a parabolic kind of a relationship between those things.
Yeah, we'll put in a picture so you understand what we talk about as well. As you said, it shouldn't take more than 5 to 7 seconds, or about 10 pedal strokes. And something that is pretty interesting is you can test if you do 3 or 4 sprints to measure both peak power and how good each gear feels. You can see on what pedal stroke you produce the most force or your peak power as well. And if that's in the beginning, like the second or third pedal stroke, or if it's later on the 4th, 5th, or 6th, you can get a pretty good idea about your what kind of muscle fibers you have as well with type 1 and type 2 or type 2X. We'll get into that later. Oh, you can maybe.
Well, I mean, the reason for this is that, like you said, somewhere along this sprint, you will have the pedal stroke that has the highest power output, where the relationship between the force on the pedals and the speed of the pedal is optimal for producing power, and so that is your velocity, pedal velocity, or what you usually say in cycling, the cadence. That is where your muscles are working optimally to produce power, and that cadence is the optimal cadence. And depending on if that cadence is 87 or 117 or 123 RPM, that says a lot about your, like you said, the muscle fiber typology, because different types of muscle fibers have different optimal shortening velocities. So if you're a type 1 dominant athlete like I'm around 90% type 1 slow twitch muscle fibers, you're going to have a lower optimal cadence, and somebody who has more fast twitch fibers is going to have a higher optimal cadence for producing power.
And you got 90% from muscle biopsy, not from this test.
No, of course. I mean, and it's really important to really emphasize that this is just a estimation of muscle fiber distribution. You really need to make a muscle biopsy to know for sure. And there are other non-invasive methods. I mean, this test is a non-invasive because you don't punch a hole in your muscle to see what the typology is. There are other methods. I think like doing an MRI on your muscle to see how much carnosine is in the muscle is also a valid method. So I know this type of test, like a force velocity test, you can do that with a barbell as well. So people do that in the gym as well. But this is a cycling specific version of a force velocity test.
Yeah, and we like cycle specific stuff.
Well, it's of course important if you're a cyclist.
Yeah, and the power cadence test can provide also an indication how to say the communication between brain and muscles, how well the transport and communication systems are functioning, if it's tired or not, because usually you don't really feel if your nervous system is tired. You feel if your legs are tired, you feel if your brain are tired, but not the communication system or the nervous system. But with this test, you can get a pretty good indication of how it feels in general.
Yeah, like the test we talked about in previous episode, like the critical power test, and also the recovery and training status test we talked about, are more about the cardiovascular system and the aerobic part of the performance system. Whereas, like you said, this is the neuromuscular, from the brain, how the signals travels, how efficient that is, the connection between nervous system and muscle, and then how your muscles are functioning as well when it comes to peak power. So this is a different type of performance tests, totally.
Exactly. And that's often something you neglect, that the nervous system can also be fatigued because you don't quite feel it in the same way.
And a test like this is so easy to perform when you're out on a ride. If you know a little bit how to analyze it, it's very easy to just throw one of these in, or a few sprints like this in a training ride, to see how your neuromuscular function is at the moment. You can, of course, do this with other types of tests. I know we do it a little bit in the gym with a counter movement jump as well. It says a little bit about the same thing, but I mean, this, as a cyclist, this is a very convenient way to measure these things.
Yeah, because you can go out on a ride and you can feel pretty heavy in the head and feel tired legs, and if you do 2 or 3 sprints to just analyze, put in a spreadsheet and analyze, you can see the nervous system is tired as well, and I need some time to recharge the battery.
Yes, and I mean, the peak power is one thing, and the cadence at the optimal cadence where you produce the most power is one thing. Another interesting thing with this test is that you also get a little bit of it's actually a little bit like a 1 repetition max test for your pedal stroke as well, because if the relationship between cadence and power is a parabolic, the relationship between force on the pedals and the speed at which the pedals are traveling around the pedal stroke, is a linear relationship. And at one end of the spectrum, you have your theoretical maximal force, your maximal strength in the pedal stroke. And at the other end of the spectrum, you have the maximal speed you probably could produce in the pedal stroke. And that's a little bit interesting as well to look at as a coach, to know, okay, is this somebody who is limited by speed or force capabilities?
Or both.
Or both. It's good to increase both of them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And these kinds of sprints are, you need a pretty good power meter to be able to record every pedal stroke, because you need like 2 to 10 times per second data from each pedal stroke, so they can analyze it, because it is a very short test and you need good data from it. And it's maybe not optimal to do on maybe what can you say, lower budget trainer, or maybe even a watt bike.
No, it's a test that it's not. Well, outdoors, it's usually you're able to do it pretty much with any type of bike. And I think ideally, like you said, ideally you will have a sampling frequency of 2 to 10 times per second. There are not that many power meters that have that high sampling rate. But if you do a 7-second sprint and you get at least 7 data points with the force and velocity and power, that's good enough. But preferably you would have more data sets than that. When it comes to indoor training, there are a little bit fewer options. We do a little bit training on the track, of course, and like a standing start on a velodrome is basically a power cadence test. You start from 0 and then you accelerate as hard as you can. But like you said, very few trainers and indoor bikes are good enough for this type of tests, unfortunately.
Yeah, but as you said, outside you can do it with almost any bike, and preferably you would have a pretty low gear, a bit uphill, low speed, so that acceleration and the force comes from the start. So you don't start with full speed or 17 in cadence or something like that.
And usually you have to test your way a little bit, trial and error, and see, okay, which gear should I be in, which incline of the road is ideal for me, because like we've said, you want to accelerate maximally from really low cadence, preferably 0, but at least under 50, and then reach at least over 120, preferably even a little bit higher, while not changing gears during the sprint.
Yes. Yeah, do we have anything else to add?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, this is a really great test, and I'm a little bit annoyed that there isn't a really convenient software that automatically analyzes this test, because it's a really great test. At the moment, it demands a little bit of know-how and hands-on from the person analyzing it. We use a spreadsheet and to analyze this test, which we are more than happy to help people who want to try the test with. But it would be great if there was some kind of software that actually you just throw in your power file and then you get the results from a test like this. That would be great, because it's a great training tool, not just to see your performance or recovery, but also if you know a little bit, if you're a more type 1 slow twitch heavy athlete or a type 2 fast twitch heavy athlete, usually that says a little bit on how you should plan your training, and if you're if you're a little bit sensitive to training load and things like that as well. So it's a really great diagnostic tool, this test.
Yeah, and as we said, you can do the test pretty often as well. It's not hard to do. and you can follow how you progress over time as well.
I think that's a typically endurance athlete thing to say, that a maximal sprint isn't a very hard thing to do. If you ask Eddie Hall if he would like to do a 1 repetition deadlift maximal.
Yeah. And if you don't know who Eddie Hall is, Google him. He's a strong man doing 500 kilos in deadlift.
Yeah, almost passing out after 1 repetition.
Yeah, bleeding from the eyes and ears. Well, I don't do that when I do 500 kilos on the deadlift.
No, me neither.
I do reps.
Of course.
Because
and do it to the biceps curls with 500 kilos.
Yeah, but I'm an endurance athlete. I do more reps.
Yeah.
No. But I don't think it's hard.
No, but I think it highlights a little bit the differentiation. I mean, the different preferences and how we handle different training load as endurance and sprint athletes, and also if you're an endurance athlete with more type 1 or type 2 fibers, because that is something that affects how we perceive training and how we should be performing our training as well.
For sure, yes. Great. I think that's it for this episode.
Yes, it's a great test, and we recommend it full-heartedly to any rider who wants to know a little bit more about their physiology or biology and pedaling physics without performing two extremely exertion tests.
Yeah, and as we said, we have a spreadsheet we use to analyze this. And if you are interested, you can contact us and we can help you with that. And if you want to know more about like muscle fibers, optimal contraction speed, or fiber composition, you can read it in Fredrik's book.
If you know Swedish.
It's in Swedish, yeah, but yeah, Google Translate, and every AI tool is pretty good at translating now as well. So, yeah. Great.
Excellent. That's a wrap for this week, I think.
That's a wrap for this week. Sorry for the late episode, 2 days late, but we still go.
Life gets in the way sometimes.
Yes. Well, you should follow us on our social as well, as in the description below.
Yes, and I think one thing we can make a tip about, we haven't said anything. There is actually a great review about different types of tests like this. We'll put it in the blog post that is with this podcast.
Perfect. Thanks for today.
Till next time.
Till next time. Ciao.